Welcome back to Inside Marketing Design, everyone, or just welcome in general if you're new around here. I'm Charlie, I'm the creative director at ConvertKit, and I started this show to learn from my peers in the tech industry about the processes and team structures that they have in place to make great marketing and brand design work happen at their companies. Today, I'm speaking with Berenice Mendez, who is an associate creative director at Dropbox, working on HelloSign specifically. Now, HelloSign is an e-signature service, and it was acquired by Dropbox in 2019, but Berenice has been on the HelloSign team since 2015, when the company was made up of only around 25 people. So she's seen a lot of team structure and process changes over the years throughout the company growing, throughout the acquisition, and I was excited to talk to her about it and learn what it's like for a designer when your company gets acquired and then merges with a new company. Our season sponsor Webflow is especially relevant today because the HelloSign team uses Webflow for their marketing website. Webflow is a no-code website building tool and allows designers and marketing teams to ship well-constructed sites and easily make updates without writing lines and lines of code. It is super intuitive for us designers to use, and for startups especially, it's a great tool for getting updates shipped quickly. You can check it out at insidemarketingdesign.co/webflow, and we'll hear more about Berenice and her team's web design process in this episode. So let's get into it and take a look inside marketing design at HelloSign. Welcome to the show, Berenice. I'm excited to have you here and to dig into this other side of design at Dropbox, essentially, but HelloSign being a separate product and a separate brand and things like that. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Charlie. Super happy to be here. Very excited.
Let's start by talking about maybe a quick history of your time at HelloSign, because, things have changed a lot since you started. You joined when the company was a lot smaller, and when it was an independent company. You've been through this acquisition. Talk us through what brand design was like before the acquisition, maybe.
So, I joined HelloSign in 2015, brand new to the Bay Area, young designer full of hopes and dreams. And I joined a very tiny startup called HelloSign. At the time, I think I was employee number 28, 29
Wow.
maybe. And I was the second designer. There was one designer, and she was doing all the product design. And I came in to pretty much help with all the brand work. There was a lot to do, and all very fast because, as you know, startups move very quickly. And as you kind of get more feedback from users and as you develop more features, you are also trying to find your place in the world, right? And the voice and the tone that you want to be speaking. But, something that we kind of always knew, it was that the product needed to be simple and the brand needed to be reflective of that. So when I joined, I joined in and I helped design everything from at the time, pitches for investors to our early banner ads, white papers, things for all the conferences and all the events that startups attend to. And definitely started working on the website as well. But it was two designers, very tiny. And I started growing as startups do very, very quickly. And obviously the work got definitely more intense. I definitely found that there wasn't enough time to do absolutely everything with the level of detail that I wanted to. That's when you kind of start thinking about how to kind of scale yourself and then start kind of bringing in process.
And is that when you started maybe hiring other designers as well? Or has the brand design team at HelloSign always been you?
It's always been tiny, and I can tell you what happened. So the designer who hired me, a year after I joined, she left. Mm-hmm. So then I was the only designer. And and it was really interesting because obviously I still love the company, I still love the team. I still found it very exciting, but it really required me for a short amount of time while we kind of hired the product design team to take some of those product design responsibilities. And I guess it was very illuminating for me to realize that I definitely wanted to stick to brand design. I think that was kind of my opportunity to perhaps pivot
Test
or
it out.
explore.
Yeah.
But I said, this is work that is very, very important, and it's definitely my brain isn't necessarily wired that way. But yeah, so we started growing out the product design team, and then I hired another designer who's also an illustrator, and back, this is 2018 at this point. And yeah, we're pretty much at that time, we have like a style guide, we have like voice and tone, and we have an illustration style, and the product we're launching new features. We have launched a new product at the time, and come 2019, I think is January, we just get an email that pretty much giving us the news that we are now part of the Dropbox family. And things have been moving pretty fast internally since then. Completely different experience than a startup, but very interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, man. So that's a lot of change to go through at a company, and it's so cool to, I don't know, just hear about this experience on both sides of it, right? Of being at the small startup to now being at a much bigger company with multiple products and like multiple moving parts to it. What's happened since the acquisition? How has brand design been handled for HelloSign since it became part of Dropbox?
Yeah, so at the very beginning, we remained very separate companies. I think this was done deliberately to maintain a level of confidence and, like stability for the teams to be able to do what they do best without too much disruption. I think any change is, can be positive, but there's drawbacks. And obviously Dropbox acquired a profitable business and they didn't want to compromise that. So we definitely operated separately. However, I think that it was very evident quickly that the acquisition was made also because Dropbox wanted to extend kind of like the reach and like the portfolio of products that they wanted to present to the world. And then we needed to kind of like achieve a little bit more parity between the brands. And also not a lot of people still kind of knew that there was a relationship between companies. So we needed to kind of like put a little bit more work on that. In mid 2020, we joined like Brand Studio, and definitely now like through some teams are still kind of operating differently. Some others have kind of merged. We do kind of like work in the same kind of team, but our specialty is still kind of like in HelloSign and in the product and in the target audience and the users for it.
Which makes sense because you've got all that context and all that like deep product knowledge and brand knowledge for HelloSign. That makes a lot of sense to me. And if anyone listening wants to hear more about the Dropbox side of all of this, of Brand Studio, then listen to the previous episode because we interviewed Liz from Dropbox in that one. Talk to me about your role now then at Dropbox, I guess we should start saying. What are your responsibilities as Associate Creative Director?
Yeah, so my job is essentially to oversee a brand manifestation through the framework of see, buy, use. And just a TLDR is see, it's really like campaign efforts, the first touch, customers see us, in an ad, billboard, TV spot. And then buy is experience, mostly interactive, like through the flow of purchasing, product trial, signing up. And then use is, the brand manifesting itself in the product. So really kind of keeping those consistent and understanding like at what level do they manifest, and kind of make recommendations and meet with like the stakeholders in those areas just to make sure that we are speaking to users at the right kind of like tone, and we are really leveraging the brand to like, help customers make the right decisions about our products. On the day-to-day, what I do is I define a lot of scope for projects. I provide, like you said, a lot of historical context. I select the designers that will work on certain projects according to their skills and according to the level and according to their interests. And pretty much just like help fill in the gaps on like what's maybe technically possible, what has been tried in the past, where are we going, and try to kind of deliver on those projects, obviously within deadline, within like scope, if all goes well.
And the difference in between your role and maybe other associate creative directors on the Dropbox team is that you're responsible for the spectrum of the see, buy, use, right? Whereas the others tend to focus on one of those pillars for Dropbox itself as the main brand.
That's correct. Yeah. So the other ACDs work on C, and then another one in buy, and another one in use. And I pretty much kind of work on all three at the same time, which is no easy task. But at the same time, I think being still like a smaller company than Dropbox, it's still kind of can manage that. But you know, things are kind of changing rapidly, and it probably might not be the case, you know, soon. Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? As things merge more, you know. What about the rest of the brand studio team? Are you the only designer who is focused solely on HelloSign? And you sort of, I guess, like hire or work with other designers on the brand studio team to get projects completed and to collaborate on things?
So they're about like 35 people in brand studio between ACDs, managers, producers, designers, illustrators, strategists, writers, and some of them are contractors and freelancers in the team. So there is an illustrator that reports to me and an interactive designer, but we really use the strengths of like a lot of the other designers in projects for HelloSign. And that's where it's really helpful to kind of be there and provide a lot of the context, though we do have like designers that specialize in HelloSign because of like the constant work that they kind of need to be plugged into. But you know, yeah, I mean, tasks come in, and you know, there's always someone we can resource it to, and yeah, that's what like the rest of the team is for.
That's really cool. It's kind of like you are a small marketing and brand design team still, but you have the resources of a much larger one because you can pull from the rest of Dropbox Brand Studio when you need to, you know, when something's important.
Yeah, and it's great because these designers have been working for Dropbox products and kind of understand the frameworks. And for them, it's kind of really interesting to kind of see at the same thing, like how a different product operates, and like maybe like how we speak to a different audience, and where are possibilities for like using the same language, or like maybe just similar visual, you know, like treatments for things. Every time a new designer kind of comes in with into a new project at HelloSign, they're like, wow, okay, so it's a little bit less of like, oh, autopilot, I know what to implement. It's like, okay, let me take a step back and think a little bit, and let me actually learn a little bit more about the product. So I do find that they're very excited about trying out projects for the team.
Totally. That's like typical in-house designer thing, right? It's like you're so focused on one brand and like one style, and so it's nice to every now and then just do something a little bit different.
Yeah, for sure, for everyone. And the cool thing is that designers have like also different skill sets, even like in the brand designers. So some are pretty good at like just layout, and they will tap maybe like someone else who's like really good in like product visuals and like abstract UI, and it's a team that really kind of values kind of like, you know, kind of critique and feedback, and like I think it's really we take it upon everyone to kind of like deliver work for like things that might be really ambiguous. That's like bringing an entire company with its own brand into another one, and then kind of like see what the future will look like, right? And at the same time delivering like on the project that we need to at a certain deadline. So it's definitely a lot of team effort for sure.
Can we talk more about how exactly you collaborate across the design team? Do you have like weekly or monthly design crits? Do you have stand-ups? Talk to us a little bit about what that working relationship's like.
So my favorite part is creative review. We have creative review every Thursday. And for the most part, it'll be a sign up, and there's always someone who wants to show work. And really, like everyone attends in Brand Studio, especially the designers and illustrators and ACDs. And I love because it really, you can show work at any stage, and you can come very much clean and say, I am so stuck on this. Please help me out. I don't know where to go XYZ here. And you get just like a myriad of like super candid responses on like, okay, like let's help you break down the problem, and just like kind of the way that people come in together and just kind of like provide just the best well-intentioned feedback, and kind of understand where you're at, because like a lot of it is kind of like, okay, when do we need to figure this out by? Like, let's work with your constraints. I found it super helpful.
So it's such a safe environment, you know, to just be able to go into a meeting with, quite a few people and say, I'm totally stuck. I don't know what I'm doing, and have them help you and feel okay doing that. That's great that you have that.
It reminds me a lot of school. When I was in college and you have a deadline the next day and everyone's in the studio pasting things, printing things, and someone's just not quite done with something or haven't figured out. And everyone like kind of huddles around and starts kind of like, okay, let's help you out. It's that kind of attitude of like, we all want you to succeed. I love it, but it's just a constant, and it really is great. We also do have a monthly brand all hands where we really talk about, the team. We welcome new team members, birthdays. We do this thing called brand love where we shower someone in love and kudos and appreciation. There is a broader design all hands also monthly with our VP of design, and that's where we also talk about vision and strategy and top of minds in the org, maybe like things that happen in the company, how do they affect design, our stance, our opinions, And the HelloSign design team, I also have a bi-weekly design meeting where I pretty much touch base with product design and we kind of stay connected.
Cool.
Yeah, we pretty much just like make sure that nothing's straying too far from where it should be, and we're moving kind of like at a very similar cadence.
That's great. Yeah. So it sounds like there's a lot of talking to each other, making sure everyone's on the same page, but also making time for the relationship building stuff as well,
Yeah.
Because I think that's important too for getting good work done, is if you trust your workmates and you feel supported by them and, have that good relationship.
I did forget to add, we do have office hours, and it's super important. Okay. Let's say that someone can make creative review or there's limited time. We do have office hours for see, buy, use, and HelloSign. So whoever is working, for example, maybe a designer's working on like some ads or maybe like an ebook or say a landing page, they kind of like look at which pretty much area it fits, and they sign up, and it's an entire hour, and everyone kind of stays and kind of sees the work. And it's also really great to see kind of the variety of projects that you work with. And it also, honestly, it has helped me tremendously to just even anticipate things that I might run into. Yeah, I think it's been really helpful for everyone to kind of solve a problem together, and that way we don't have to run into the same thing like in multiple times. So office hours, really, really great.
Again, lots of talking to each other, right? And making sure that everyone can learn from what other designers are going through. Before we go too much further into details of like project process, because I have lots of questions on that, but let's go a bit higher level and talk about the HelloSign brand a bit. Because you mentioned, it's got a different brand and the designers like to work on this different target audience from time to time. How would you describe the HelloSign brand and target audience?
So when we defined the brand a couple of years ago, we made sure that it would always be perceived as simple, helpful, and delightful. I think we took a lot of pride on redefining the expectations of what a brand focused on like legality and agreements and signing could be. Because most people have like really negative associations with paperwork and forms and contracts. So we wanted to kind of change that relationship between, our users and what that aspect of their businesses. Our audience is definitely small businesses. So we embraced illustration pretty early on, and we also favored really clean and simple layouts. Our product is very clean and very simple to use, kind of like, succinct. It really focuses on kind of staying out of the way and just kind of letting you do your thing and kind of like move on to the next thing. As our product suite grew and we started kind of introducing more products, we started implementing color as kind of like a way of differentiating the products. So HelloFax was the time yellow, and HelloWorks, which was kind of like our smart kind of like form product, was green, and HelloSign remained blue. But we also have like API. So it started getting definitely a little bit more complex, but we definitely defined, okay, we need to use color in a way that, it's still like accessible and it's still like friendly and it's still like, it still makes us stand out from what your standard kind of corporate software looks like. So yeah, that's how I would define the brand. Definitely always very simple. There's an element of transparency. There's more products in the space nowadays, but at the time, I think that just the reinforcement of like, we are a simple to use product, but we are very much legal, and being very transparent with like opening up the conversation of like what's an easy feature, where is it legal, and what you can do with it was very important to us.
Yeah, that is important. Making it feel trustworthy, but also not like scary and off-putting that it's too unapproachable, I guess maybe is a good word for it. I feel like I can definitely see everything you said in the HelloSign brand for sure. Let's go into a recent design project maybe that you've worked on at HelloSign. Is there one that comes to mind that we could talk through?
We just recently worked on some kind of consolidating some pages, some landing pages for for SEO purposes. I think that is something that gets a little bit complicated at times, and just recently we had to kind of like sit down and go through a bunch of these.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm super interested in this because we're going through something very similar at the moment at ConvertKit. Just like, 400 pages on our marketing site, which ones are really needed and how do we focus on the most important ones? Where did this project come about? Who raised the issue for it, I guess, and was like, hey, we need to work on this?
So it was a combination of people at different times. I think it just kind of consolidated very recently, as in like, we just need to take action on this. But I mean, one of the people, I raised the issue on like the number of pages. One of our devs raised the issue on like, this is going to become a problem in the back end very quickly. And also, our demand generation and web optimization managers were just like, this is starting to kind of hurt our ranking, and this is kind of unmanageable. The same number of pages that were out kind of like astray. So let's kind of like just round up all of these and see what we can do with them.
And do you have someone like a project manager on the team who handles the prioritization of things and says like, this is when we're going to fit this project in and this is who's going to work on it?
Yeah, so we operate on quarters. There is a forecasting and planning every quarter. And the marketing team pretty much huddles together and defines the projects and kind of priority. There is room for, obviously there's always things that pop up, and we at Brain Studio are like happy to accommodate, but sometimes we just need to shuffle things around and cut scope on things and move things to another quarter, or maybe just speed things up. But yeah, so once there's a request and we kind of like see a little bit of like what the quarter is going to look like actually even before the quarter is actually done, we see like the following quarter kind of like at a glance.
Planning in advance.
And we start really thinking about who would be a good match for a project, and then a producer is assigned, and then the producer really starts thinking about like timelines, and they're really experienced in like knowing kind of baselines for projects. They've worked in so many different ones that they kind of understand, this is the part where we're going to probably hit a snag, so let's get that earlier on defined. They touch base with stakeholders, kind of like if the brief isn't finalized, just kind of get let's wrap this up, let's start presenting this to design, and then once we have a brief and it's submitted and we have kind of like more or less like a timeline and we kind of know that we can work on it, we kick off a meeting, and then it's the stakeholder, the producer, myself and most of the time, and the designer who's going to be working on it. And we talk about like anything that might not be clear in the brief. You kind of redefine expectations, clear out gray areas, and really kind of digging into like maybe what kind of a little bit of a pre-mortem, like what could go really wrong.
Ooh.
What are we very, very optimistic here that might come and bite us, at the end? And also, what other associated tasks have we not, are related to this project that we haven't actually fleshed out? Like things like, for example, are we going to need any illustration? Are we going to be needing a photography for this? Do we need a brand writer to actually proofread, or is the PMM's copy just is good to go? Things like that. So we fleshed that on the kickoff meeting. And then after that, our producer kind of sets up timeline, and the designer pretty much starts kind of like putting things together. And if it's like a page, or in this case, we started thinking about, we have this many pages. And in this particular project, we worked with a vendor who really kind of specializes on kind of like extracting really information about all of these pages and kind of like finding them, which was probably like the most daunting task.
Yes, they hide, don't they?
They
there's
do.
pages on your site and you're like, where did you come from? I didn't know you existed.
Yeah, and the way they did it is like very smart. I mean, they do use software that kind of like really helps you, because one has like a sitemap, but the true sitemap is it's not pretty.
Yep.
So and then kind of giving a score to the pages, just kind of like thinking of like really the quality of like the design, things like it might be very out of date. So that's like already a dent. The content might not be up to date or might not be really good. That's another one. So like really giving a score and like really thinking about on their end of like, okay, URLs and keywords. And the designer just starts thinking about okay, so we are going to be replacing a lot of these pages. What kind of work needs to be done from scratch? What really kind of also scaling the work. So what we did for this is say, okay, we have copy written for like, let's say 15 pages, but realistically, since we're kind of like tackling this a little bit from a fresh point of view, let's work with a small bundle of 3, because that allows us to see what 3 pages redesign can do, what the impact of these can be, and then we can kind of like maybe create a process for the next bundle to be executed a little more quickly, or like if we need to actually go back and it didn't work out, when we can redo, we can iterate.
Yeah, right. With the learnings from that first 3, you can apply them to the rest. That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, the process has been that once the wireframes, let's say, are kind of ready, we kind of touch base with stakeholders, there's a review, the hierarchy looks good, everything like it's working. We dive into like now visual design, and at times the designer will also create the product visuals, but sometimes there'll be someone else who like, oh, this person's just really is great at it, so they'll take care of it. In this case, he did. And yeah, just kind of going into if we're talking about a particular feature and we don't have like a product visual, like an abstract UI, then we kind of craft that. And also thinking about things like alt text and how are we exporting assets as well, and character count, we go over like the copy a little bit more. So those things can always start kind of thinking about and touching base with stakeholders if anything needs to be revised. After that, we have kind of like a more visual design review. In the middle of this, I mean, we saw these pages, I saw them like in our office hours and creative review. I mean, these pages kind of got shared and kind of seen by other team members, and they got to ask questions about like, oh, how's that problem solved? How are you going to tackle all those 15 pages? And then kind of again learnings for them when if they ever have to kind of do that. And then we pretty much we feel good about the visual design. We kind of touch base again with stakeholders. We tie loose ends, everything looks good to go. If there's any feedback, we make sure to put it in. And then, we prepare on interactive projects. We make sure that from the very beginning, like we always kind of have like a conversation with the developer, especially if there's a project that is kind of going to be new or something that is kind of outside of like the system. When we prepare for handoff, we definitely meet with the developer and be like, okay, like, is there anything here that we should be adding some extra notes? Anything deviates from what we've done before? Yeah, and then we just kind of prepare things for handoff. We export assets, and we hand them off to actually the producer who will kind of like take all the files and the baton and inform everyone of that the project has kind of reached these milestones, and it's now kind of has entered the stage of like a build and then QA, etc.
And what design tool gets used at HelloSign?
Figma's Figma's
and usually
darling.
The answer is Figma. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when we moved from Sketch a few years before the acquisition. Yeah, we were heavy Sketch users, and then we transitioned to Figma. We haven't looked back ever since.
Haven't looked back. And what other tools are a part of this design and build process? Like, what is your site built on?
So we use Webflow as our CMS. Yay! Huge fan. And yeah, we partnered up with Webflow developer a couple years ago to kind of move the site over. Currently, we have two developers kind of working on it and kind of optimizing it and making sure that all of the other things we have plugged into it for like analytics and metrics and forms and it's working pretty well. And so yeah, we use Webflow for design. Let me think. I think for interactive, that would be it. We use After Effects and Lottie, which we then implement into Webflow for certain pages that have like kind of key animation, including our current homepage. So yeah, After Effects, it's definitely something that we use from time to time.
And the two developers that you said that work on the Webflow site, are they internal on the team at Dropbox or at HelloSign?
Yeah. They are a part of the marketing team. So they're marketing developers and yeah, they are they're internal. Yeah.
Cool. That's nice to have that resource internally.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, I think that it's one of your best friends as an interactive designer is you want to keep that relationship like it's just in the best possible way because you're learning constantly as like technology changes. And I'm not on Webflow myself a lot in it, so I get to kind of like really understand like the actual functionality and the I guess like the how a new feature affects us when a developer tries it out and kind of like kind of comes in and kind of says this could be big for us, or like we could actually do this. Like kind of how it happened that we could implement Lottie files, like kind of
right. I was just thinking about that. Speaking of the marketing team, is the marketing team structured in a similar way to Brand Studio, where there is a marketing team focused on HelloSign as well as like a separate side of the marketing team that focuses on Dropbox?
Yeah. So the marketing team at HelloSign is fairly big. It does have about I'm gonna say it's about like 18 to 20 people. Well, it's not huge, but 18 to 20 people. And the leadership does kind of like dotted line report into the broader Dropbox marketing structure, but they do operate fairly independently. So our goals are different. Our OKRs are different. So they do kind of follow kind of their own kind of like plan for the year and for the quarters.
Would you say that most of the projects that you end up working on come from the marketing team and from their needs?
Yeah, a lot of like product and brand awareness, product launches, more feature launches, and event promotion, education, things like case studies. There's like blog, and on the acquisition and growth kind of side of things, just kind of like we talked about web optimization, kind of like taking care and revisiting flows, technical debt on our side that might be kind of hurting us in any given way, site audits, even architecture of our site. We have multiple products and we're in a company that has multiple products. So kind of like understanding how one person navigates through the HelloSign site and might kind of end up in the Dropbox site as well, and how to kind of keep an experience that benefits both companies definitely falls on projects that marketing and HelloSign also starts.
Nice. Yeah, and it's interesting to me that the developers are on the marketing team as part of the org structure. How do you ensure that relationship stays close and that you have a good working relationship despite being on separate teams? Any tips you can share there?
Well, we do have like a lot of kind of squad channels on Slack that really kind of allows for kind of quicker discussion on items and on tasks. At times when you are working with like a larger group, you need to kind of like fill in with more context. But sometimes when you just kind of like have a smaller, kind of like a tiger team, you are able to just kind of like go straight into like, maybe like technical language and issues and get like an answer there a little bit more quickly. But I would say that I work with the marketing team very closely. Like I go to their team events. Like I'm very much part of an honorary member of the team. So it doesn't feel as separate, to be quite honest. I think we've done a really good job at just kind of like really placing a lot of value on understanding our roles and just making sure that that we're looped into like what's important to both teams. And the developers kind of like see both sides. They kind of see like kind of like technical repercussions of something that's not maybe implemented right, or maybe something where we might have cut corners, or maybe something where it wasn't thought through. So it's in the best interest for like both like marketers and PMMs and also like brand designers to like understand the site very well through like a relationship with our developers.
I think it comes again to just talking to each other, is what I'm hearing from you in a lot of this. I'm curious to know how your role has changed over the years at HelloSign in terms of hands-on design time, because as we're talking through this project, I heard from you that there was a designer working on this in Figma, and you perhaps weren't the one working on the design yourself. Is that usually the case these days? Are you more at the strategy level?
A little bit of both. So my role, my role is hybrid. So I do have some projects that I take on. My manager sometimes will be like, hey, like, there's like, for example, no one to take on this task. I'm just gonna go ahead and just do it. So I do love that there's like that element of like everyone's a team. We're all gonna help out wherever we can. But yeah, my role is hybrid. So I do have some IC projects that I touch on. But yes, I think that my role has been changing towards really being that person who can provide a lot of like zoomed out version, kind of eagle's view. And I do a lot of review of work, and a lot of it is kind of providing insight into like what the future could look like, and kind of helping designers like scale themselves. So sometimes there will be like really interesting work for a project, but I kind of know through experience that the frequency at which we're going to do something is not going to allow for this to be reinvented every time. So that's when you kind of like have a conversation with designers and like, this is great. What can we extract from this approach that we can actually like deliver every single time without like compromising in the quality? Otherwise we're gonna bite more than we can chew and gonna like get overwhelmed or just kind of like burn out, right?
Yeah, more systems thinking.
Yeah, exactly. I also do like a lot of review of work. We partner with some agencies for a lot of the production work, which is like resizing ads and some video production. And I'm there as kind of like some liaison between brand and marketing, kind of help kind of like steer conversation towards like, hey, that voice and tone wasn't quite right, or like, oh, like this is the right implementation of things.
You're like the brand watchdog, making sure that everything is
always a little scary, but let's say, I mean, we can say it like that, but yeah, I'm not even going to argue that. That's definitely one way to say it.
No, I'm saying it that way because that's what I feel like my role is at ConvertKit as well, is to sort of stay aware of what's going on and be the one to speak up if I'm like, hey, this isn't quite on brand enough.
Yeah, that's very true.
Talking about your role some more, what metrics are you accountable for? Is it you're accountable for projects shipping on time, or is there more specific, I don't know, like brand awareness or affinity metrics that you're held accountable to as an ACD?
Yeah, I would say as we have adopted, as I joined Brand Studio, and we have kind of adopted like a pipeline of ships, I mean, goes into like the team, and then we're using also other designers, just making sure that projects get delivered on time and kind of like stay in scope is very important, but also kind of identifying when we need extra help. I think that a lot of the changes you can do can be temporary, can be kind of like advantages, but at the end of the day, if you just need to keep growing the team, that's something that you have, a decision that you have to make. For brand, I think that a lot of the metrics are more qualitative. It's about like, do things feel like on brand? Are things kind of like talking to the right audience? And it's happened a lot when I review work from other agencies. Like, is this like a good implementation? We do look at software that kind of gives us a more like a scoring based on kind of like, like our kind of share of voice and kind of like reviews and kind of sentiment. But that gives us more like a view on like a longer term. So it's kind of hard to like change something like a month or even a quarter and kind of see it reflected dramatically. But something that really we pay a lot of attention is what people going to events, for example. What are the sentiments that are getting from people visiting like the virtual booths at events? or maybe like the kind of like words used in like the messages in our chat, in our homepage. A lot of those messages gives us like a lot of insights into what kind of information we're not delivering or we are doing a good job in. And even things like, I mean, we consider ourselves a very transparent brand. And if we feel like people aren't finding something like information that is very crucial, then we kind of like do a disservice to it. So kind of like staying on top of that is very important for us. Yeah, no strong definitive metrics that I can say.
It's more qualitative and that you're keeping a pulse on things. What about site data? Like, is there someone like a data analytics team you can work with to see how pages are performing and to ask questions of it to know what to change and what to improve?
Yeah, we have a data team in the marketing team, and we also have a web optimization team. And yeah, we definitely look at things, conversions, downloads on pieces, traffic, time on page. I think the scoring is important. That's one of the things that we've been doing more regularly as we kind of take looks at our site and kind of decide what are we going to be, sunsetting, or what are we going to be updating. A lot of that insight turns into like experimentation. We do meet and talk about what is possible to change around without me kind of like being involved every single time. So we can like have like a little bit of a playground, and then the team can then report back on like, hey, remember like this page and this experiment? Here was the experimentation plan for it. We were gonna test these two sections, moving them around, and this one performed better. And then kind of that cumulative kind of insights just kind of helps us make better decisions in the long term, and kind of like not kind of like maybe stumble upon the same things over and over. Yeah, we have a data team and then a web optimization manager who just take a look at every single web project. She's pretty much embedded in just to make sure that we are considering experimentation and opportunities for these pages to really deliver.
Yeah, totally. And I guess also taking learnings from experiments that have been run and seeing where else can we apply this knowledge and like use it going forward as well. Sharing that information. What advice do you have to other designers who may be at a smaller company that gets acquired by a bigger company? What advice do you have for them for, I don't know, maintaining the brand, for maintaining their processes, or learning how to be acclimatized to a new company? Curious to hear if there's anything you learned from this acquisition by Dropbox that you want to pass on.
Oh man, change is so exciting. I mean, honestly, being very candid here, like if we were going to be acquired by a company, I think Dropbox would have been like the one that I would have wished for. I think be open to learning. One of the first things that I realized is that there's a lot of great things about having a small team, because you do get a lot of ownership on the products, but the projects really, you can only get so much feedback from your peers in a small team and from like your marketing partners. And there's like the experience and the way of running things from teams that have experienced maybe the challenges of a smaller and medium company. Those are really priceless, and you don't really get to learn that until you hit those next. So just really be open to like suggestions, and like maybe like really question about how a process was arrived at. Maybe it's the time, it's the time for you to implement that. Something that I did a lot was when we got access to pretty much a lot of the documents in the design team, I read through a lot of older projects. And I found a lot of the challenges that we were running into at the time. So I was like, this gives me almost like 50% of the answer. And this gives me the language to express maybe like the thing that I hadn't figured out how to express, that something was bothering me about this problem, or I couldn't really narrow it down. Here was the answer for those things. And that was really helpful. I mean, it really felt like going back to school. It really felt like you were reading, from a textbook a little bit. And not everything applies necessarily to you, but definitely perspective. And like from a brand like Dropbox that really pays a lot of attention to design and like brand expression, the insights really felt like kind of finding a bit of a gold mine, you know?
So just basically embrace the change, you know, and see where you can learn from it and take it as an opportunity. I love it.
And, you know, I think something that the designers at Brand Studio really also got really excited about was that sometimes at bigger companies, processes are a little bit lengthier because like there's more people involved, there's more eyes on the work. I guess also kind of like the wearing a lot of hats. It was really exciting to see people that were like, oh my God, you did this, but you also did this, you also did that. It kind of makes them kind of like also excited for them to try other areas, right? Not maybe they've been specializing on something for a little while and just kind of being someone who's going to be doing a little bit of everything because of really like, that's how the team
necessity.
is set up.
Yeah.
Exactly. It gets them excited to be like, maybe I can do that too. I can explore that as well.
Yeah. So there's like learning on both sides.
That's right.
Let's end by talking about the project or like impact, I don't know, that you're most proud of in your time at HelloSign.
I would definitely say that was moving the website to Webflow. I think that at the time, we were pretty much doing updates to our website on kind of like aligning them to like a release schedule for product, which was like every 6 weeks. And that was very difficult for the marketing team to launch an update. Imagine if you have a typo or something, you have to kind of like set up like a Jira ticket and it get prioritized, talk to the right people. It was just not scalable. And we're already, I feel like, big enough that we shouldn't have been dealing with that problem. But and I'm also sure that the engineers were very happy to not have to resolve those issues for us. So I was tasked at the time to like find kind of like our CMS, and I looked through the options, and I think Webflow was definitely the one that stood out at the time just because of the flexibility. And, you know, as a designer, you kind of want to know if you're going to be able to get your type exactly how you want it, if you're going to get your spacing exactly how you want it, like how really the level, you don't want something that's like necessarily plug and play. You don't want templates. You kind of want to go in there and just make it really your own. And Webflow really allowed for that. So before kind of making the decision, what I ended up doing was that I went ahead and built our homepage on Webflow, like on a trial.
Yeah, cool.
And I
like
did
as a
that.
test.
Yeah, let's see how it goes. And the fact that I was able to do it like in like an evening, I was kind of blown away. I was like, okay, this is I'm not a developer, and I was able to do this with my limited knowledge of like the terminology, and it also kind of like helped me really solidify what I did know, like the terminology of classes, of, you know, like divs. It really kind of, it put it all together. It helped me kind of sew those concepts together and kind of visualize them. So that was really helpful. So I was able to do that. And I remember very clearly that I said, okay, there's an export feature, export code. And I always felt those never work. It's always something that, yeah, of course, and you plug it in and it's not going to display properly. So I export the code, I give it to one of the developers, and I said, can we like see how this looks like in like a experiment page? And I think it rendered like almost perfectly, like maybe like 98, 99% there. And I was kind of, okay, maybe this is like probably the way to go. After that, we ended up doing an audit of the site at the time. Again, which is trying to categorize pages, kind of score them. And over the course, I think it was about like 6 weeks, we redesigned and rewrote a lot of the pages and rebuilt them on Webflow. And oh man, it was a lot of work. I don't know how, I mean, I can't even imagine how much harder it would have been if we had maybe picked that solution or we had done something else. But it definitely helped me build a relationship with our site and really kind of get to know it in a different level, right? And again, I think that just having design systems just kind of like being like the thing front and center that I knew that we needed to tackle to help this kind of like be implemented in a way that was easier. It was kind of like the like firsthand experience with like, okay, components are just an important part of a design system and the designer and designer's experience and interactive. So we did it, and we were pretty happy with it, and we still use Webflow. I still look back and kind of like, I'm really impressed that we were able to do it with like just me pretty much as a designer.
Yeah.
And in nothing, I don't think it was anything critical that happened like wrong. Everything like was great. I don't think a lot of people get to experience that and very, very often, but I did, and I'm really proud of that. And now we have a website that supports like a lot of pages and a blog and just an entire like flow and connects to a product, and I'm just really happy that I was able to be part of that, of the strategy and the planning and the execution of such a big, scary thing at the time.
Yeah, that's a big change. And I don't know, yeah, I can totally understand why you're proud of that, to have been the one to suggest this is the solution that I think is going to help this, and then seeing it implemented, seeing it work. Yeah, that's awesome. Well done.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for everything you've shared in this episode, Berenice. So much useful information here, and it's nice to hear about this side of Dropbox and where HelloSign fits into it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
I'm so glad that I got to speak to Berenice about how HelloSign work is done at Dropbox. It's the perfect follow-on from my episode last week with the Dropbox Executive Creative Director, Liz Gilmore. If you missed that, definitely go back and listen to it so you have like the full picture. You can find it, as well as all of our other episodes, at insidemarketingdesign.co, and check out the description for links to Berenice and links to HelloSign as well. We are getting close now to the end of season 2. There are just 3 more episodes left. So if you've been enjoying the show, I'd really appreciate it if you would take the time to go leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. I've seen it near the top of like the design charts in some countries, which has been super exciting. I'd love to hear your feedback on the show as well. Do you want a season 3 next year? What companies should we feature in it? If you do, feel free to leave a comment on the YouTube video or tweet me at Charlie Prangley and let me know. Thanks to Webflow for sponsoring season 2. Thanks to you for listening to it, and I will see you next time.